Speaking to you from the Camino Hermitage on Camino Island in western Washington. We have a very still day, thick cloud cover. We had very heavy rains yesterday, and we are in what we here in western Washington call the month of January. No, not June and not January, but January. Anyway, you'll have to figure that out for yourself. But today, we continue with the Super Cosmic Science course. Super Cosmic Science course by Paramahansa Yogananda, printed or published anyway in 1934. This is a series of 6 lessons. He had about 4 or 5 sets of lessons between the 20s and the 30s, and then moved on to a very large set of lessons called Precepta, which were assembled by his disciples, students, etc., a combination of his earlier lessons and notes taken from his talks and so forth. Anyway, and we're on lesson 3 called Self-Analysis and Significance of Dreams. You know, in the yoga teachings, the nightly experience of sleep is very often referred to and for comparison purposes and for contemplation purposes as giving hints to the soul of its true nature. The dreamlike quality of sleep is then compared to what all too often is the surreal quality of life itself. I was visiting with friends yesterday and a beautiful home, and we asked, well, how long have you been here? And to me it looked like a brand new home. 21 years. I looked around. 21 years. I mean, my goodness, time just is very odd. So here we're going to talk about dreams and the subconscious mind. This lesson is very much like how I imagine, well, more than imagine, I've heard Yogananda's recorded talks, and it just goes all over the place. So one is sort of forced to read different sections of this just because it just sort of skips everywhere. So first off, and as a prelude to this, Yogananda taught that the mind has 3 levels. The initial level, the level which creates the other 2, is the soul. And for the purpose of the mind and consciousness, he called that level the superconscious. Are there distinctions between the soul and the superconscious? I don't know. He never said. I suspect more in function than in reality, because the superconscious state, both in this lesson but also in his teachings generally, seems more active than is normally attributed to the soul. The soul is more viewed as above it all, up here, as in the watchful state, non-attached, not participating, but at the same time in its superconscious functionality, it gives guidance. And here in this lesson, the superconscious sometimes uses the subconscious mind to communicate to us through the dream state when the conscious mind isn't so active that it isn't in touch with the superconscious. So the superconscious, or the soul if you like, is the preceptor and progenitor of the lower states of mind, of which are the conscious and the subconscious mind. He says the subconscious mind is always awake when the conscious mind, because that helps us because it's a memory, it's like a scribe. It's always recording everything going on. Now, whether you can call out the recordings of the scribe depend on, well, just a lot of factors. Some people's memory is just excellent, and some people, well, not so good. Padma has an aunt who is in her 90s, and her power of memory and recollection of her entire life is just extraordinary. And then, of course, scientists tell us that we have a short-term memory function in the brain and a long-term memory. And short-term memory seems to be problematic for many people, supposedly in the aging process. And the long-term memory seems to be more stable. It's probably a lot like how the computer works. In any case, so during the waking state, the subconscious mind is recording. But during the sleep state, it produces dreams. And it acts like a film director sometimes. Sometimes it's just the camera. Other times it's the player. And he talks about how the different dramas of comedies and tragedies and real facts that pass through the conscious mind are photographed, recorded, like the scribe I said, by the intelligent subconscious mind. And these inner mental films are stored away in the groove-like shelves in the convolutions of the gray matter of the brain. And then, so during sleep, when our life force retires from the five senses, the conscious mind goes to sleep literally, and the life force is largely withdrawn from the muscles, it becomes concentrated in the brain, in the head. And then it in certain parts of our sleep state, not all of the parts, but it produces these newsreels of real things and imaginary things, comedies and tragedies. And then sometimes during our dreaming state, as I mentioned earlier, the superconscious mind, if it has a message for us, drops a film canister into the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind acting like the camera, not the cameraman, but the guy who runs the film machine, plays that film for our edification. Now he makes he says, for example, the subconscious mind, whenever it is too taxed with fears and worries by the conscious mind, takes revenge on the conscious mind during sleep by using its concentrated energy in the head to film a tragedy on the screen of relaxation. But at the same time, sometimes the subconscious mind produces comedy pictures to delight and entertain an overtaxed conscious mind. Or if the conscious mind, if the conscious persona is involved with undesirable actions, then perhaps the subconscious will try to reflect back to us in our dream state the evil or the inappropriate thoughts and actions and feelings that we're engaging in during our wakeful states. But he wants to remind us that when we're dreaming, we're not resting. This is why the third state of sleep, the dreamless state, is so important to getting the body and the mind a good night's rest. He talks a little bit about visions. I'm not going to mention that too much. I mean, visions can be given to us. They're all super conscious, of course. Visions can actually happen with my eyes open, or a vision can come in the dream state, of course, the appearance of a saint or a vision of future events. He doesn't go into it here, so I won't either. But superconscious dreams and visions have certain qualities that those silly dreams that we have most every night do not. And I'll just say that the most important part is they stick with us. We remember them, and they have clear significance to us, even if our interpretation of them escapes us. Clear interpretation. Okay. Did that, went there. He also says that superconscious dreams always come true. I don't know what to think about that, because not all superconscious dreams are necessarily predictive, but always come true, they always are true, is maybe what he means. At least that's how I would interpret it. So now he's going to give I'm going to give you a list of certain symbols, things that happen in dreams that he is interpreting for us. For example, if you have a dream of fire, fire represents, he writes, the burning of past karma. Light and the ocean represent vast perceptions of self-realization. A river suggests plying up the river of life force in the spine through yoga practices. Water represents the results of divine perceptions attainable by meditation. I don't have a clue what that means, actually. A boat indicates that you should seek the guidance of a true guru. Angels are divine friends and saints in past lives who remember us and try to help us. If you dream of scriptures, the dreamer is being asked to follow the path of wisdom. Temples and churches are encouragement to follow one's path. Yes. And altars, he said, interesting. Altars represent communion with God, or in some cases, a potential marriage with a divine soul. Then he goes on to clarify that the real marriage, and the best one of all, is with the negative feminine soul with the positive soul of God. Okay, cloudless skies represent a serene, pure path of communion. So imagine the kind of skies we never have here, and not never, but we don't have very often here on the west coast of Washington, where clouds are omnipresent. Flowers represent the budding of the blossoms of creative wisdom. Okay. Sunny lights signify astral visions illuminating vast spaces during meditation. Golly, I just don't know what that means. He says the moon suggests that we should combine devotion with astral visions and meditation in order to progress. Okay. A feeling of expansion in space represents the feeling of omnipresence felt in meditation. So it seems to me that what I'm reading here is that for those of us who are meditators, if our meditation is progressing well and deeply, that in the dream state, where there will come to us certain of these images which are coming from our meditation state. It's like the subconscious mind, which is awake during meditation, because we are, after all, conscious too, is recording as the scribe certain of the feelings and so on, the states of consciousness of meditation, and then reflecting back to us using imagery. Because you wouldn't necessarily see the moon in meditation or have an image of a moon, but that image might be fed back to you from the subconscious mind as a consequence of your meditation. So I think what he's really saying is that for those of us who meditate, these images are reflecting back to us certain aspects of the state of meditation. Okay, I'm going to move on because I have to. Then he gets into the normal, not wonderful dreams. I mean, not superconscious dreams or dreams based on meditation. Comedy dreams are telling us to relax. Falling in dreams, and then he says, and so forth. So I don't know what that means. Falling in dreams indicates the dreamer should control sex thoughts. You got me. I don't see the relationship there, but tragedy dreams are hints of the subconscious mind to the conscious mind that we should desist from formulating dramas of worries and fears. So tragedy is telling us we're too worried. Then he goes on to say that beating or hurting other people means the conscious mind should refrain from revengeful thoughts. So it's feeding back to us the impact or the consequence or the logical extension of what we're thinking. Seeing a lady in dreams signifies marriage. I suppose if a woman, sees a man in a dream, I suppose it signifies marriage too. But here's a curious one. Seeing a house, a mine, like a mine where they mine ore, an office, furniture, palaces, shops, or money represents coming prosperity if some effort is made. These are really hilarious. Sadness in a dream represents coming sickness. That's worth hanging on to. Now, flying is commonly reported and commonly considered significant in dream analysis. Yogananda says that flying in the light, I guess call it daytime, indicates spiritual development. But flying in the darkness doesn't indicate the opposite. Get this, indicates prosperity. I'm out of my league here. Waterfalls indicate the passing away of bad karma. Oh, I'm all for that. Okay. Meaningless dreams are nothing but comedy and should be ignored. To dream too much is not good. Here's what he recommends if you're plagued by dreams. He says, clear the bowels by means of a laxative and a fruit dinner at night. Well, these will do away with meaningless dreams and give birth to superconscious dreams only. You heard it first. Okay, laxative at night and a fruit dinner. Wow. Okay. Then he talks about, as I come down to the end, is the art of dreaming. The art of dreaming, he doesn't here say lucidly, but in his other lessons he talks about lucid dreaming. So I won't go into that since it's not here. But he gives a curious exercise I'll end with. He says, the art of dreaming at will. He says, sit up in your dimly lighted bedroom just before you feel fairly sleepy, and with half-closed eyes, steadily and simultaneously look at a portion of your room and try to visualize and memorize every detail. Every detail. All the time, will yourself to see these same objects of your vision in a dream. Then lie down and go to sleep, and go to sleep while visualizing all those objects around you in that portion of the room that you've just memorized. He says in this way, you will be able to visualize or produce a mechanical vision of anything, any person, or any place in a dream consciously produced in the subconscious. Okay. Dreams are not given to you. They are created by your own conscious, subconscious, or superconscious mind. I think that's helpful. Perhaps if you're superstitiously inclined, you are producing the dreams. Unless it's really a vision. I'll close with this statement. He says, the divine man seldom dreams any false dreams. To be able to dream at will signifies that your will can materialize thoughts. Now that's interesting. And that you are getting ready to be able to produce guiding visions. Isn't that awesome? Well, okay. A lot of this is a puzzle to me, as I've indicated here, in terms of the relationship of dream objects to their meaning. But, and a lot of psychic energy can be spent trying to stay present with your dreams, which can be done, and or upon waking to remember your dreams, which can be done. But of course, if those dreams don't have any particular meaning, then I'm not sure the point there. It does take a certain amount of psychic energy to be present in the subconscious dream state. So it may cost you something in terms of rest to do that. But, dreams figure prominently in the Bible. Joseph, the husband of Mary, and Well, he had several dreams, didn't he? And the other Joseph in the Old Testament, who interpreted the dreams of the Pharaoh. So dreams figure prominently in human history and in the human imagination. But I think for most of us, they're not that important. So, okay, I guess that's all I can say about that. So I don't know who's on tomorrow, whether it's Padma or myself, but stay tuned. And every day is going to be a different topic. And we have some surprises coming up. We're thinking about really the vast material of Yogananda's writings, not just his lessons. We've been doing his lessons, but he wrote all sorts of interesting articles on world history and articles on religion and all sorts of beautiful poetry, of course. There's a lot of unpublished material out there that we might be drawing on randomly. I love randomly for your entertainment and inspiration. Okay, folks, as usual, I went into overtime.